Does James Cameron care about nuanced and complex characters with satisfying arcs that would keep you at the edge of your seat for the whole 3 hours of the movie? Does he care about plot and story that makes sense and has at least a semblance of continuity from the first film, I wonder? No, the answer to all these questions is an emphatic no, he doesn't. He doesn't care one bit. Character and plot are something tiresome and annoying that he has to contend with when making the Avatar movies. That wasn't the case, of course, with previous films of his, like The Terminator or Aliens 2, but that was almost 30 years ago. A person can change a lot since then, and as a viewer, I have to respect his effort in making films so beautiful and spectacular that made their mark in the history of cinema, but that's as far as I'll go. In Avatar The Way of the Water, James Cameron cared only for action and the visuals, and that really hurts his character and plot. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens in the film so everyone is on the same page. Also, spoilers. Since plot and character don't really matter for James Cameron, Way of the Water starts with a recap of the first film and the events that followed soon after. A lot of the choices that the film takes make little sense. James Cameron had a clear agenda. He wanted to bring back a lot of the original actors from the first film. Now that's all nice and good, of course, but the problem is that 13 years has gone past since then and some of these characters are already dead. Sigourney Weaver is back, voicing the avatar of her daughter. We learn that she didn't actually die at the end of the first film, and she was also pregnant. Jake Sully adopted the baby and raised it as its own. How did that happen? Who's the father, you might ask? The film doesn't care to enlighten us, so we are left to speculate that her character became pregnant by the spirit of the planet when she was connected to the Tree of Souls. Colonel Quaritch is also back. Before the events of the first film, he had made a backup of his consciousness and memories, so he and his whole team are now on Pandora inside their avatars. Their mission is to hunt down and capture or kill Jake Sully. Oh wait, I forgot. To add to the list of unlikely characters to be in this film, we also have Colonel Quaritch's son. Quaritch had a son, you might ask. Well, the film decided he had, so, that's about it. I don't make the rules. He was only a baby at the end of the first film, stranded in some base somewhere on Pandora, and when the Sky people left, that's humans in this film, they couldn't take the baby with them because apparently babies can't be placed into cryosleep, so he was left back to Pandora. Quaritch had named the kid Miles, but since his daddy left him and he's so sad, he has taken a new name, Spider, and has joined the numerous family of Jake Sully. Damn, this guy fucks. As for additional convoluted story choices, thankfully the movie stops here. When the teaser ends and the plot actually begins, we follow a very basic adventure family storyline that somehow feels that we have watched a million times before. I mean, minus the huge blue Smurf people, that's like, a given. Jake Sully and his big-ass family all live peacefully in the forest of Pandora, hunting and flying on their little dragons, until the comically evil Sky people land and start to burn away their forests. So after this point, the movie becomes a bit trite and cliché, following events that are very, very predictable. Colonel Quaritch and his avatar soldiers hunt down Sully and his extended family until they force them to leave the forest and find refuge in a tribe of sea peoples on a beautiful island in the oceans of Pandora. The only human of the group, Spider, gets captured by Quaritch and is used as an interpreter. Before Sully and his family leave the forest, we saw a really cool and extended action sequence. It was beautifully shot with arrows flying all along the forest, and the expertly action choreography made me hope that the rest of the film was gonna go that way, all action and thrills right until the end. But alas, it was not meant to be. The film spends a huge chunk on Jake Sully's kids messing about at the sea of the island, either making friends or making enemies with the local teenagers. You could throw out this whole segment of the film and you won't miss a thing. It's an hour and a half of things that don't deserve so much screen time in a sci-fi action-adventure film. Or at least to be fair, you could cut this segment in half and you could still have the basic gist of it without losing anything important. The romance between the teenage daughter of the king of the sea people and one of Sully's son is too long and it didn't really went anywhere. The friendship of the kids with the space whale was probably more important, but again it felt the movie was wasting time by making you watch of what it felt like a nature documentary about whales and the whale hunters. Thankfully, the comically evil Quaritch and his avatar soldiers find out where Sully is hiding, and for some reason they don't bring the full weight of their army behind them. Instead, they commandeer a hunting ship and they kill one of the sacred space whales. This brings the conflict between the sea avatars and the sky people into a boil. The last hour of the film is one extended action sequence. It features multiple gorgeous action set pieces set both below the surface and above. We see one of the space whales that is friends with the kids attack the hunting vessel, damaging it irrevocably as it sinks, the huge battle playing all around it. There are a lot of thrilling moments of action and drama, all leading to the fight between Sully and Quaritch. Sully comes up on top and leaves Quaritch for dead. Alongside his family, they manage to escape the sinking hunting ship. It's there they realize that one of Sully's sons has been mortally wounded in the fighting, and in the end, the kid dies. As they grieve, Spider, Quaritch's estranged son, makes a difficult decision, and at the last minute he dives deep and saves his father from drowning, thus inventing a new movie trope called Son Ex Machina. I'm going to hell. Anyway, because the film is so predictably written, it was almost mandated that someone had to save Quaritch so we can have him as the bad guy once again in the third film. There are a number of things that don't make sense in Avatar: Way of the Water. When the humans return to Pandora and their army lands, immediately a sense of urgency is created. It looked like they were going for a massive invasion of the planet. All the ships, the attack vessels, the ferocity of which Quaritch hunts down Sully, all of that enforced the idea. So it's completely bizarre for the film to just stop the invasion and have the kids spend an ideal summer vacation swimming and laughing and having a good old time with their space whale. Instead, Avatar: Way of the Water slows down and switches genres. It becomes an adolescent growing up story where the children have to learn things and mature and become the successors of their parents. But the movie never really commits to this idea, and instead it treats this segment as just a filler between action sequences. A bit later on, when the final battle begins, the Sully family hires to rescue the kids from Quaritch and is backed up with the full weight of the tribe of the sea avatars. But for some unknown reason, the sea tribe just vanishes from screen during the fighting. Gone. The space whale hits the hunting ship, and after that, it's just the Sullys against Quaritch and his avatar soldiers. Another thing that doesn't make sense is the idea that the hunting ship kills the space whales in order to extract their brain fluid. This substance is used to stop aging in humans. Now, that's fine and all, but the question that immediately arises is, since the space whale which the hunting ship captures is a female, why do the sky people even bother killing it? Why don't they just take it back to Earth, have it make many babies and create a space whale farm, which then could be used to extract copious amount of brain fluid and make their money? Surely if they start killing all the space whales on Pandora, at some point their population will dwindle and eventually they will all die. No space whales, no profit. The plot is so simplistic and not particularly well made that it sets up a capitalistic evil corporation that goes against all the things that a capitalistic company would do to make money. In the end, the experience of watching Avatar: Way of the Water left me empty. So what? Huge blue people fighting for their lives and homes against foreign invaders. I didn't like the simplistic black and white portrayal of these character groups. The surface level colonialism symbolism was fine, I guess, telling the story of how American settlers killed off the Native American populations. But when you're making a sci-fi film, or any film really, you need to ground your plot in your characters and make the audience care, empathize, and eventually love them. So when the action starts, they'll be worried if one of their beloved characters gets injured or hurt. Did anyone really care about Sully's son dying? Really? I don't even remember his name, that's how shoddy his character work is. And it didn't help that his brother looked exactly like him. And most likely the film decided to have two blue Smurf characters that were so similar so they can kill one off and have the other as a spare. Avatar: Way of the Water had a great thrilling action set pieces, but all the rest, the character, the plot, all was just sloppily done. Let's hope the third film takes a good hard look at its fault and remedies them. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one.